What's this? Am I, of all people, about to say something nice about the Pittsburgh Steelers? What's up, everyone? It is I, Josh Butts, here with no buts about it. And if you've been around the show for a long time, or if you're just joining, just to let you know, I am a Bengals fan and I love ragging on the Pittsburgh Steelers. In fact, I love ragging on them so much that I wasn't sure that I should even make this video. But I've got to be honest. I think the Steelers made a good move, and I knew Chuss wouldn't be able to make this video, and he's a Steelers fan. And we have ragged on Mike Tomlin a bit on this show. Maybe more than a bit. So, in the name of objective journalism, I decided I would make a very short video because actually, when I was looking at the Mike Tomlin stuff and reading the articles, I learned some stuff about him that put how great of a coach he is into perspective. And yes, maybe he hasn't won a playoff game since like 2017, but hey, he's been a great coach for the Steelers in terms of getting wins. And I will read what Chuss's thoughts were. I had him send me something. I'll read that at the end of the video. But first, I just want to talk a little bit about Mike Tomlin. So if you're a Mike Tomlin fan, get ready. Right now is your moment. You are going to get to hear Josh Butts say something good about your guy. And everyone knows Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. He's been with the Steelers for 17 seasons. Now, what I didn't realize was the context surrounding that. Like, first of all, a lot of times people will say, oh, yeah, Mike Tomlin, he's never had a losing season. And they'll just end it there. They won't say it's been 17 seasons. That's insane on its own. But then when you look at the coaches that he is surrounded by, it makes even more sense why he got this 3-year extension. I mean, just look at this. Steelers head coaches since 1969. Steelers are known for being consistent. They've only had 3 head coaches since 1969. Chuck Noll, 1969 to 1991, had 193 wins in 342 games. Then, in second, Mike Tomlin has been the head coach since 2007, has 173 wins in 275 games. That means he's only lost about 100 games, which is amazing on its own without even this context surrounding it. But also, this 3-year extension almost guarantees that Mike Tomlin becomes the winningest head coach in Pittsburgh Steelers history. Now, maybe Steelers fans are listening right now and they're like, yes, this is obvious. We've all known this. But coming from someone who's not a Steelers fan and is a fan of your rival team, I never knew this, and I'm impressed. I knew that he was a good coach and got wins, but I didn't realize how big this was for your guys' franchise, for the NFL as a whole, which we're going to look at here in a minute. And then Bill Cowher was, he began coaching in 1992. For some reason, the year he finished got cut off, but he had 149 wins in 240 games. So Bill Cowher had 149 wins. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's considered one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. And Mike Tomlin is already ahead of him. And he is very likely going to catch up to Chuck Noll as well. But okay, that's just the Steelers. That's just the Steelers franchise. Very successful franchise. But we're just comparing. We knew that. We knew the Steelers have been successful. Maybe it is just them. Maybe that's just the way the Rooneys roll, and it works out. So I looked up, what are the records for most consecutive seasons with a winning record? Because as we said, Mike Tomlin, in his head coaching career, has never had a losing record. Most consecutive seasons, 500 plus in NFL history. Tom Landry, 21 seasons, holds the record, and this is consecutive. This means there was never a losing season between them, never anything below 500 below them, between them. Bill Belichick, 19 seasons. Obviously, that was his run with the New England Patriots that ended once Tom Brady left. Mike Tomlin, 17 seasons. If he keeps up his trend of never having a losing record, he will pass Bill Belichick, who many consider to be the greatest coach of all time. He could even have that final last season. Let's say he falls off hypothetically in that third year of this contract extension. He will still have 20 winning seasons. That he's going to be up there with these greats. And then George Halas, he's already passed, who I personally consider the greatest head coach of all time, or at least one of my top two. But we'll talk about that another time. He's already passed George Halas with 16 seasons. Mike Tomlin is getting close to being ranked one of the greatest head coaches of all time. Now, of course, people are going to argue Super Bowls and stuff like that. And of course, those things need to be taken into account. But I really didn't realize how insane Mike Tomlin's records were. Now, of course, let's also look at the fact that Mike Tomlin did continue that winning record with this guy at quarterback. He struggled in the NFL. Kenny Pickett is now a backup in Philadelphia. He was a former first rounder in 2021. And he just hasn't been, 2022, not 2021. Former first rounder in 2022, Kenny Pickett, struggled in the NFL. He's now a backup in Philadelphia. And they just weren't able to get it done in the playoffs with Kenny Pickett at quarterback. But he got that 500 plus record with Kenny Pickett at quarterback. And he got it with an aging Ben Roethlisberger as well. Now they're bringing in this guy, Russell Wilson, to be the quarterback in Pittsburgh. We'll see if he can continue this streak of getting that plus 500. They also have this guy as the backup, presumably. Now, of course, Justin Fields could still be named the starter. The NFL season hasn't started yet, but these are two workable quarterbacks. You can work with both these guys. As we've seen, both the Bears and the Broncos last season, I think, did a lot better with Russell Wilson. They still weren't great, but I think they did better than the year before. And then obviously Russ on the Seahawks was phenomenal. Both of these quarterbacks are usable. They're usable players and should easily be able to get you to a 500 record. Not only that, another problem that you had with the coaching staff, Matt Canada. I know Steelers fans are going to love to see that face. Slants and jet sweeps and all that. Yep, Matt Canada, a big problem in Pittsburgh for a long time. I know Steelers fans weren't a huge fan of him. He has now been replaced by former Falcons head coach Arthur Smith, who's the offensive coordinator. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this hiring yet. Chuss isn't sure how he feels about the hiring, as I understand it. But this could be a good move for the Pittsburgh Steelers and is almost definitely an upgrade over Matt Canada. Now, I said I was going to keep this short. I said I was going to keep it sweet. And that's mainly just because I'm afraid that like the whole comment section is going to be people just like, dude, we knew this. You're not saying anything new. I know. Maybe you're right. But I do want to see what Chuss had to say. And he said something about Mike Tomlin that I think is a good point. He said, I don't think it's a terrible move. I mean, big time players want to play for Mike Tomlin. True. Hell, a lot of guys want to play for Mike Tomlin. So he's saying like, we're going to get players in free agency just because they come to play for Mike Tomlin. Even if they're not big time names, there'll just be guys who want to come play for Mike Tomlin. I think if we can figure out what's wrong with our coordinators when playoffs always come around, I think people would have a different opinion on him. He's also never had a losing season, which helps the brand. And that is true. And we have put in context those losing seasons. Let's look at this again. This NFL history record. I mean, he's going to, I think, pass Bill Belichick for most consecutive seasons, 500 plus in history. Not sure he'll quite catch Tom Landry. And then he is almost definitely going to become the most winningest coach in Steelers franchise history. So Chuss is right. If he had won more playoff games, he would probably already be considered the greatest Steelers coach in Pittsburgh history. But those playoffs are where he struggled. Hopefully, those offensive coordinator issues kind of work themselves out for Steelers fans. Now, obviously, as a Bengals fan, I am hoping none of this happens. I'm hoping the Bengals sweep the North, sweep the Steelers, and they go to the playoffs. But I did want to shout out Mike Tomlin on getting that 3-year extension. It is a big deal, and you are continuing to make Pittsburgh Steelers and NFL history. Let me know what you think about the extension down in the comments. I'm sure there's still some people who don't quite think Mike Tomlin was worth extending. And if you're one of those people, let me know down below. If you have more like crazy Mike Tomlin stats that I didn't include in this video, make sure to put them down below because I just love knowing this stuff and learning this stuff no matter the NFL team. Until next time, go do something nice for someone.